You know, there wasn't a huge demand for it, but a decent handful of people did ask for an updated 2021 version of this topic. Some of you seem to like them. Let's get into it. I think videos like this are still really important because 2021 will still be filled with curious consumers looking to make a monitor decision. Stay with my current monitor, buy a 1080p monitor, really step it up with a 1440p monitor, or go all out and get crazy and get into 4K gaming. I'll tell you right now, even if money is no object for you, chasing 4K at 60 FPS in every game you plan to play or buy, especially if it's the AAA stuff, will remain a dream for you in a lot of cases. And depending on optimization, you'll still hit that wall in some cases at 1440p. So for now, and this is just my opinion, my take, I would advise against it unless you're willing to sacrifice most of your settings or even lock your games at 30 FPS. And hey, let's be honest, that's one of the many things that's awesome about PC. You can choose to play at any resolution and frame rate that suits your needs. This brings me to my next point, very similar to the previous videos. I will try to help as many people as I can with these videos and respond to some of the comments, but asking me if certain hardware specs that you have or plan to buy is good enough for 1440p tells me little to nothing. Again, what games are you currently playing? What games do you plan to play? Are most of those AAA? Are most of those indie games? A combination of both? How demanding are some of those games on your current setup? These are questions that you have to ask yourself, and it's best if I'm going to be able to help you. Are you more of a competitive gamer? That's another good question to ask. I may advise against moving beyond 1080p if you're a competitive gamer because you're always going to get the best performance at lower resolutions and settings. Competitive gaming is like a completely different beast that I don't know. I think it requires its own separate video entirely, and I don't know if I'm qualified to do that because I don't really do a lot of competitive gaming these days because the better your hardware, the more that person is going to have over the next guy that's equally as skilled as yourself. Hardware and resolutions won't necessarily make you a better player, but they can provide an advantage to already existing skilled players. We can just scrap all that and say, look, are you more of a AAA, an indie type of gamer that doesn't mind sacrificing a few of the more demanding settings to get more performance from your machine? If the answer to that question is yes or hell yes, then 1440p is probably for you. Again, the reason I put it like that, the reason I say the things that I do, the reason I ask the questions I ask is to get some perspective on what it is that you expect, because all of this is hardware and game dependent. Some of you may come to this video and tell me that you're totally fine with locking your game to 1440p at 30 FPS. I don't even have a problem with that, but I would say if you can get more performance than 30 FPS from your hardware, why the hell not? Another thing to consider, it's definitely something that I take into consideration, is good frame times. I like my entire gaming experience to come together like a top-tier Frank Sinatra performance. Playing at 1440p, locking the frame rate to somewhere between 80 and 100 FPS, sometimes more, and turning everything to high instead of very high or completely maxed out is normally my preferred way to play. I just really enjoy solid frame times. I am very big on that line staying as straight as possible in something like Rivet Tuner, but that's just me. My preferred way to play is not for everyone, so on and so forth. Some of you may enjoy turning all of your settings to a combination of low and medium just to see how many frames your system can crank out in every game. I don't like my system to sound like a train if I can help it, so you guys have fun with that. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2 are already crazy demanding on my system, and it's loud enough playing something like that. I'm not looking to get crazy. I'm cool with locking a single-player experience like Red Dead Redemption to a certain frame rate and calling it a day. Another big question that you have to ask yourself is how much you care about things like image quality. Do jaggies and things like shimmering bother you to no end? 1440p will certainly give a boost in that area over things like 720p and of course 1080p, but there's this myth that 1440p or even 4K have removed jaggies entirely, and they don't. That is completely a myth. That is completely false. You still have jaggies in some games at 1440p as well as 4K. I can confirm as someone that has experienced both. Just try not to go into either resolution, 1440p or 4K, thinking to yourself that this works miracles or something, because they don't. So many games now seem to use temporal solutions to help smooth out the overall image quality, and some of them, as well as the engines the games are made on, are very well done. Others, to me, look a bit muddy, and you have to wonder if it would have been better just to leave the jaggies in place or offer a different aliasing solution. Developers are improving in really big ways. You know, sometimes they're taking small steps, sometimes they're taking really big steps, but they are improving, and that's good news. I did make the jump to 4K last year in 2020 after I made the previous updated video. Right at the end of the year, I did get a 4K TV. I made the move to 4K a little bit less so for my PC stuff. Maybe in the future I can think more about that, but more so for what little console gaming I do, and I've actually got into a bit of movie collecting again, and it's been great. I do love my 4K TV. There's no denying that. You can't beat the black levels on this LG C10. I've never seen colors so amazing, but that's for a completely different video. I also decided that in 2020, I wanted to upgrade my monitor, and I am now the proud owner of the 27-inch LG GL850, and I love this thing. So I'm still at 1440p, but I'm off of the TN panels and back on IPS, which makes a huge difference if you prefer superior color accuracy. And just as a little side note or whatever, to be honest, I haven't even hooked up my older 1440p monitor to help with workflow or editing reasons. That could also be something you consider before making the purchase. What am I doing with this monitor? Am I just going to be gaming? Am I just going to be editing videos and photos? A combination of both? These are questions you should ask yourself, but just like last year and the year before, yes, 1440p is worth it. There's obviously a little bit of bias here, but even if just for all of the extra real estate and overall cleaner image quality, it's completely worth it here again in 2021. Windows looks better, games obviously look better, images look better, videos on YouTube look better. I won't go through a bunch of the options as far as like all of the different models and model numbers out there, because I do think there are a lot of awesome monitors. But I'll tell you that having the LG GL850 for 6 months or so has convinced me that I don't think I would go back to a TN panel for anything other than a secondary monitor for streaming or having a chat box open in a separate window. My two older monitors, the two that I still have left outside of the one that I upgraded to here, the LG in 2020 and use every day, both of those are TN panels. Both of those are, both the 1080p as well as the 1440p are ASUS panels. And let me make this clear, I don't think you can go wrong with ASUS either, but after having my new OLED TV, after having this LG monitor that I upgraded to in 2020, I don't really need to upgrade to anything else for a while. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And unless, as far as monitors go, unless monitors can make that jump to OLED technology, and I'm not paying more than $700 or $800 for a monitor or something, I'm not really interested anyway. Like I want monitors to move in that direction, to take on that technology. And at this point, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm waiting for that. To wrap this video up, is 1440p for you? I believe so. If you've answered yes to some of those questions, if you've taken some of those things into consideration long before you watch this video, then yes, 1440p is for you. It's totally worth it. Again, here in 2021, if you have the extra money and the hardware to support it, make that jump, but at least take some of the things I mentioned in this video as well as the previous videos and videos from other content creators. You know, just look at a bunch of articles first, take those things into consideration before you buy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. You seem to like these, 1440p, is it worth it videos. And if you want me to update it again next year and I can find a reason to do so, then we will. You guys have a good one. Take care. Peace.